kill it. I was meant to win. I am down and willing, so I will find a way. It took a minute, now it didn't happen right away. When it get hot in the kitchen, you decide to stay. That's how it winners made. Stick a fork in the hater on my dinner plate. I walk into the fire like it's just a bit of flame. I switch my style up, watch the money pile up. I'ma get rich.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I'm the Clydesdale. We are here highlighting and celebrating the athletes of the 2024 Legends Masters CrossFit Games. And I am so happy to have with me old friend Carleen Matthews. What's going on,
Hi.
Carleen?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you're back to the games again.
Yeah.
Excited?
Yeah. I think that excited, but also it's still like 4 weeks out. So there's still that lot of work to be done kind of feeling. So
Yeah, it's funny because, I've done a lot of interviews this week already, and a lot of athletes are talking about how, because they're masters athletes, they don't do the 6-hour days anymore. It's like an hour here, maybe an hour there. And then when everybody made the games, like there's a switch that flips. Like, I've made the games, now I got to put in all the work.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have that, but I definitely have worked hard. And I will not be the person to say that I don't train hard all year round. I definitely do. But a little bit more specific, right? Like now that the games are coming and the closer they get, it's just more specific. More time on you got to spend more time in recovery. You got to spend, more time doing some skill work and specific stuff. So it's still a little different.
So how do you find time for all that as a mom, a business owner, and everything, and an athlete?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I mean, that's even the other day, somebody was like, oh, can you come see me, to get some body work and stuff. And I was like, I literally have zero time. So yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky and grateful that, we have my daughter in a daycare right now. So she's gone, during the day, 3 days a week. And so that helps. I have three other coaches that help me. But my husband does a lot for me. So he works 2 days on, 4 days off. And the 4 days off, if I really need him to pick up a class, he'll pick up a class. But it's long days. I coach 6 a.m. and I coach the last class at 6:30 to 7:30. And then put my daughter down, and then by then it's 8:39 and I'm just finally able to decompress. But I don't know, I figure out how to get it in and cram it in here and there. So
you hear some of these elite athletes talking about getting 10, 11 hours sleep in a night. That doesn't seem possible in your life.
It's not. Yeah. It's something that I'm working on. I would be really, really happy with 8. And that would be a goal, but 6 to 7 is usually when I'm at, and it's not ideal, but it's reality. So
just to add some texture to all this that we've talked about, you own a gym, CrossFit St. Helens.
Yes.
In Oregon.
Yes.
And your husband is a firefighter, correct?
Correct.
So he has that 2 days on, 4 days off schedule because of being a first responder. So being a business owner and him being a first responder, that's a lot of stress.
Yeah.
How old is Charlotte now?
She will be 4 in September.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in the easy time for kids.
Yeah, we're in the thick of it right now. We're in the thick of it. We're actually on, she's definitely having a day today. I'm like, what happened? Who are you? What happened? So it's been very challenging.
It's funny. I just finished an interview with Kenzie Riley, who her oldest is 4 as well. And I was telling her that when my daughter was small, we used to call like 6 to 7:30 the gangrene hour.
Mm-hmm.
Because getting her settled for anything was nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have more like 7 a.m. to like 7:30 at night is our hour. Like I said, I'm very lucky to be able to send her to school. But she is a handful. She's very, very busy. Like we just had CrossFit Kids today, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like let's run them, like jumping, all kinds of things, and it just doesn't even make a dent. So like my husband's like, we gotta go. And so like, cool, take her to the skate park somewhere, like run it out. We have her in swimming and that makes her a little bit more tired, but not enough. She's very, very busy. And so it's a lot.
Is that the cross to bear for 2 fit parents?
It might be, I mean, like people are like, what do you expect? You were like bouncing around the entire time you were pregnant. I was like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
You passed on those genes.
yeah.
Yeah. So what are your favorite times with Charlotte? Like when you have like the perfect day with her, because let's end on a good note. Because like I love my daughter to death, and she's 23 now, so that 4-year-old stage is long gone.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, like lately, like as much as she is like wild and crazy and feral, but she is like, the moments where she's like hug, and so like that's so nice. I like got back from a training at Fort Vancouver yesterday, and I met them at the grocery store, and she was like hug, and she was so happy to see me. But I love that she is able to be in the gym with me, and sometimes she will just like watch and I don't know she's watching, and then later on in the evening she'll like do exactly what I did. So like that's really cool to watch that and to see, like we were doing box jumps today, and so like that's really exciting for me to watch her just like fly up on a 20-inch box. So yeah, I mean, she's great. She just, there's lots of moments that that are challenging, but
she's doing 20-inch box jumps at 4.
Oh yeah.
Wow. CrossFit Games champion 2038.
we just got to get her focused.
Yeah. Well, this is your 6th trip to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy to just say?
Yeah, I mean it is, because there's a lot of times where I'm like, oh well, yeah, like 6 times, I guess. Like somebody just asked me the other day, they're like, how many times? I'm like, well, 3 individual, and then this will be my 3rd Masters, and they're like, so 6. And I was like, yeah, but I don't really like ever say it that way. So it's kind of funny like thinking about it. And when they talk to like the elite athletes and they're like, oh, this is your 4th time, or like you're like not a rookie anymore, and like you're an OG, and I'm like, oh, I guess kind of am too, but I just don't really like see it like that. So
yeah, I think we need to change that perspective, because you have a job, you own a business, you have a child, you have a lot of things that you're balancing in life that you can't do what the elite athletes do. And that's okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I was very ready. I was ready when I leveled up to Masters. I was just done, like, putting in all that time and work, and like my body was just ready to be done. So like I'm very grateful for the Masters division, and I love it. I think it's great. So I have no, like, I wish I was still there. Nothing. Like, I'm not there. I'm like, I don't do the things that they can do. Like I can't do that anymore. So, yeah, I'm really grateful for where I am now. I'm happy with that.
So 5 years ago, you entered the Masters division as at the youngest point of the 35 to 39, and you took second.
Yeah.
Now you're in the youngest part of the 40 to 44-year-old division. Does that put extra expectations on how you're going to perform this year?
No, I mean, it makes me like hopeful, right? And that was the intention with last year, like taking a year off, knowing that I would be on the younger end of the next year. But there's some really fit, strong girls in my division. And I've been out of competition for a little bit. And so it's weird. I don't really, like right now, I don't really have a lot of expectations put on myself. I'm just really happy to be there because I didn't know if I would be there this year, and so I'm super happy to be there. I've worked really hard, and I feel really fit, and so it's kind of like, I considered, through like the open and semi and quarters and semis, I considered like, well, if I'm not like, if I like don't have a chance and I'm like lower 30, 40, however many they're taking, if I'm on like the low end of qualifying, like I don't know if I'm going to go. And then I realized that like this is not given. Like this is not given and it's not guaranteed. And so like any Masters athlete that has ever like questioned like should I go or not and like express that to me, I'm like go because we don't know if they'll be next year. And literally that's been like since I went in at 35 to 39, I was like, I don't know if there'll be a next year. I don't know what's going to happen. Because when I went in 2019, I was like a month away from trying to get pregnant. So, for me then it was like, I don't know if I'm going to, want to do this again. So, I feel like you got to like take advantage of it. I definitely earned my spot and, yeah, I'm just happy to be there, but I also don't want to just go and just participate. So like, I want to compete, and I want to do the best I can, but, yeah, it's weird. I don't have any huge expectations on myself this year, and I don't want to put any on myself because that's when I do the best.
Most of the people I've spoke to this week, this is their rookie year, the first time they're ever going. Until tonight with Kenzie and you and the person I'm interviewing next, you've all been to the games before. Any advice for these first timers heading to their first?
I think that like, it's the same thing that everyone talks about is like, just soak it in. Right. And it's really, really hard to do that. I do feel like I didn't really fully get to do that. My first 2 years. And then the third year was like, I had to pull out early. So, I mean, yeah, I think that that's like a big thing is like try and just like enjoy the process and, have fun with it, but also like, know that you're there to work hard. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
Who are you taking to Birmingham with you?
That's a good question because this year is going to be really exciting. I have my husband and daughter for sure will come. And then my mom and my sister and my niece. I have my coach coming with me. And then I have a group of 6 members from the gym, a group of 2 members, and then another group of 2, and then possibly 2 more. So it's like 12 people from my gym, which is the most I've ever come to watch me compete at the games. Especially, it's like a big travel. And so I'm really excited, like for that, to have so many people there to support me and like get to like continue to be a part of my journey.
That's incredible. The more people we can get there, the better chance that this becomes a big festival type event.
Yeah.
And so it's cool that you're not the only person telling me you're bringing a big group of people. So if everybody does that, it could be with 450 athletes, and then they all bring a good chunk of people. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about Big Fish. We've talked to you about that in the past. You did it last year. We had you on the show talking about that experience. I read some of your stuff about this year where you did it again. And the thing that got you through was seeing your husband and your daughter kind of come support you during that. And for people who don't know, it's a 24-hour test.
30-hour.
30-hour test.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to give a quick explanation as to what it is and what it's for?
Yeah. So the Big Fish Foundation helps support veterans after they come back. And they're really there to help bring, just like bring people together and they do lots of different things. They don't just do like these like 30-hour grueling events, but they do a fundraiser, and that's what I've participated in. And so they actually just did one. So this year I didn't do it. I don't think I've done it since I spoke with you. But so this year I didn't do it because it's kind of like I either do Big Fish or I do the games.
Okay.
I'm worried that I worry too much that it's like such a long, grueling event that it's kind of like a beatdown. But when I did it last year, and it was really fun. It was Miranda and Julian were there. We had Fern there. We had a lot of like really cool. Brooke Entz was there. Brista, as always. And so it was a really cool event, working with like teamwork. So we relied a lot on our team. We did a lot of things in pairs and in teams of 6 or whatever. But the 30 hours is, you get to a point where you like have a breaking point. And it's nice to have, it was really cool because I did have like my husband and Charlotte there. And it was kind of always where it would be like, it's getting hard. And then like I would come like back to the house and like they would be there. So that was cool. And just to get to have her watch me do something like that. I don't think she understands, right? Like she doesn't understand. She doesn't get it. But eventually, like it's something that, we'll watch. We watched some of the stuff from this past year, and like she knows Tosh. And so I'm like, hey, there's Mr. Tosh. Do you remember Mr. Tosh? And like, so she remembers that. And it's super cool. Like my daughter got to like meet and hang out with Nicole Carroll. Like not a lot of people get to do that. And so like, that's really cool. Like when she grows up, I'm gonna be like, yeah, like you, like, here's a picture of you and Nicole Carroll. And so that's really cool for me. That whole, the Big Fish and Tosh and Nicole, what they're doing is amazing. And this year we sent out a athlete from street parking, a girl that I've done some training with and knew that she would be a really good fit. And she was a really good fit. And so she got to experience it this year. And it was really, really cool to be able to like hear all the takeaways that she took from it. And just hear her experience, because she's like a mom and a business owner and like similar, and so it's really it's a great, it's obviously a great foundation, but like that, whole 30-hour event is you learn something about yourself that you like can't learn from just, sometimes you can't even learn it from 24 hours.
Yeah,
Like it's going to take you the full 30 hours to
it's
really get that.
completely life-changing.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's a lot of times too where like I'll like, we'll talk about, I don't know, like, oh, somebody's like talking the other day about 60 minutes of burpees or whatever. And they're like, people are like, I could never do that. I'm like, oh, like that's like nothing, right? Like 60 minutes. I've done like 30 hours,
yeah.
and I think the mental, um, the mental toughness that you build from stuff like that, and just the like just sitting through adversity and sitting in your shit is something that you can't train for that. Like you can't train for that. You have to just experience it. And so I'm very grateful to have experienced that stuff because it's made me a better athlete and is likely one of the reasons why I am still competing today.
It's funny because I hate every time I talk to you, now I want to go in 3 different directions and I got to pick which one. First, Nicole Carroll is one of the coolest people on the planet. And not many people make me nervous anymore because of doing this for so long. But I was at the games in the media pit and she came up and leaned on the barricade right beside me and I got nervous. So she's just like super cool. Somebody I respect deeply in this space. The other thing is you talk about like sitting in your shit for 30 hours. We did this story when we first met you years ago and you talked about your recovery journey.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're paying that forward with holding recovery classes at your gym. So talk about sitting in your shit. Like, what that's like.
Yeah.
And to say that this event changes your life after what you've been through in your life means so much.
Yeah.
So paying it forward now, how important are those classes that you do at your gym for people in recovery?
They're really important. I'm like going to get emotional about it. We actually have we just had a situation where we have had an athlete who's really struggling in our program, and like I really truly believe that he needs our program, and I will continue to open up our program for him as long as he's willing. So yeah, our program's very like it's very close right now and like very just like very emotional. But yeah, our program, we continue to like offer free CrossFit for people in recovery, and being able to find an outlet for those who are in recovery is very important. The support we have for our athletes is really big. So our entire community is very supportive of our program. And that, I've had some of our athletes talk about it before, that because they eventually kind of like transition out. They transition out from the free classes to the paid classes because they are, able to do that. And it's really just whenever they're able. And so, the comments have been like, I was scared to go into the normal classes because I was scared people would look at me as like I was one of the recovery athletes. And our community doesn't look at people like that. So I'm very like, that's amazing, from our community. But I'm sorry. I don't even know where that question was going, if I answered
Well,
that question or
let
not.
me
But
ask you this follow-up because I live here in Ohio,
mhm.
and Dale King is also doing something very similar to that. Have you ever been in contact with Dale and talked about these types of programs?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I've tried to contact him. I would really, really, really like to be able to get out and see him after like the documentary came out. I was like, let's go. We're gonna take a team out. And I was like asking like what's the deal on the teams? I would like to take a team out to the gauntlet. But I would also like to uh, get connected with him and hear some of his best practices and just like more about what he's doing, because yeah, I think what he's doing is amazing. And I try to basically, his program and the Phoenix are the two like programs that we like really model off of, and like would want to be doing what they're doing. um our program just ends up being is me offering and doing what I can to like give back to the community and to give people what I was given, um and share with them what I have. I don't know, we had a new girl yesterday, and she said, I don't listen well and I don't pay attention well, but for some reason when you speak I listen. And that was really cool, like to know that I have that impact on people. It means a lot. And it was very powerful in a in a place of feeling like I invested a lot into an athlete, and I just didn't get it this time. But there's other athletes that are getting it, and that have. So it's it's an up and down, right? Like I said, like I will invest and like put my like I put my heart out for these people. And sometimes they're gonna get it and grab on, and sometimes they're not, and they're not ready yet. But I know that, I actually have a cool story. I know that I do have an impact on people, and that they'll take something. So this weekend I competed at a recovery throwdown. So it was another recovery program in our area, and they just did a team competition to raise money for their program. So I met a kid there who I used to work at a treatment center when I was right out of college. So that was like, I don't know, 2008. And he came up to me and he was like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Carleen." And he was like, "Did you used to work at DePaul?" And I was like, "Yes." He was like, I was a client there. He's like, "I remember you." And it was when I first started, it must have been 2010, because it was when I first started CrossFit and I started taking the clients to the CrossFit gym. And so I was like, "Oh, did we go to CrossFit when you were there?" And he was like, "Yes." And so he got that experience when he was 15. He's now 27. And he hasn't been clean the whole time, but he came back to CrossFit. And so that was really, really cool. And I was like super excited. I've been telling everyone the story. So that was really cool to know that like I had that impact, and he remembered me from 14 years ago.
Well, that's awesome. That Dale King documentary may be the most impactful thing I've seen in the last year to my life. And one thing you learn in there is recovery is not a straight line.
Yeah.
Like it is just not.
Yeah.
And that's why that documentary is so emotional, because it's not a straight line.
Yeah.
But what you guys are doing, you and him and the Phoenix, needs to be done. And you should be applauded for all the efforts you guys are putting in.
Yeah, it definitely, You know, I have a lot of athletes that are like, I wouldn't like this is part of my recovery. You know, like meetings, great. Yeah, I go to meetings, but like I need this. You know, I'm working with a guy who that's exactly it. Like he's like, I need this. Like this is part of his treatment program, like part of his recovery, part of his program includes CrossFit. Like if he's not showing up regularly, like I can talk to his PO, you know, like, hey, he's not showing up. Chances are likely he's not doing good if he's not showing up. So as long as he's consistent with us, like coming 5 days a week, then like chances are likely he's doing good.
It's amazing how many great things CrossFit can do for people.
Yeah.
In all facets of life, not just recovery, but just the community itself is so amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Carleen, I've taken up 30 minutes of your time. I promised you it would only be 30 minutes. I want to thank you so much for being on tonight. Good luck at the games. We will be there. We were granted access to do a behind the scenes of the Masters CrossFit Games. So just like the elites get that, we're doing it for the Masters athletes.
That's
so
awesome.
We will be there chatting with you in the back and in the warm-up area, and wishing you all the luck in the world.
That's cool. You're lucky because I asked if they were going to do any media passes for anyone else, and they're not. So you guys are lucky.
Yeah. It took me a long negotiation to get this.
That's great.
Well, thank you so much for being on here, and thank you to everybody for joining us. We will see everybody next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast.
Thank you.